Catherine and Kestrel, the first two bans of this one. And now Hammers on the A side of the draft, they're going to be locking in the Grace.
And Grace being prioritized in this series. It's kind of what we expected. These two teams played a lot of the Grace down the stretch in the regular season, leaving the Lyra open. Neither team really wanting to go for the Lyra because of the fact that the Grace just does a lot of healing. Glaive, Krull, I mean, this is, again, pretty much what we expect.
Yeah, so the Crow ban is really good because against Grace, Crow, that's such a strong CC comp that Hammers likes to play. They really like a lot of CC. Now here, Immortals has the option to take Lyra, but they don't need to take Lyra right now. They can secure maybe a strong laner like Idris, because Hammers will probably play like Celeste again.
Ooh.
So Adagio is picked up again. Wow, so Celeste will probably get picked up here, but then Blackfeather is still open, and Blackfeather we've seen is really good into Celeste. So let's see if Hammers is going to try to play that that Celeste again, because now they don't have a Glaive, they don't have a Cruel. This is where Hammers needs to win. They need to get a draft that can get a lot of triple CC, and that's how they excel. Yeah,
Hammers may have to go back to the 2.6 style of draft with going with a Crystal Power in the jungle instead, because a lot of the the two most popular of the weapon bruisers for the jungle have been taken off the board. Grumpjaw is still there. We did see Grumpjaw earlier today, so there is a possibility he could come out again, but maybe Lance in the jungle could be a thing, but I feel like they may go back to something weapon power in the lane.
Weapon power petals available.
I mean, there's Box. He could go Box, but I think he's probably going to go with Celeste because Starting loves his Celeste and he carries really hard in it. But again, it's always risky into Adagio Glaive because that's just too much burst against a mage that's so squishy. So I think they probably will opt with Celeste though because of Starting's preference, and then go with probably potentially a Blackfeather or something in the...
They've actually gone with
Fortress.
In the end,
so they're going to go with Vox Fortress here, I believe.
Or the Weapon Power Grace could come on in, or it could be CP Fortress in the jungle. We'll have to see. Weapon Power Grace was pretty much an exclusively European thing, so I would expect that to be the CP Fortress going into the jungle.
Oh, Blackfeather gets
interesting
taken. So they're
decision.
denying it from Immortals here.
Really interesting that they went for the triple melee into an Adagio, because they're now all going to be inside the Verse of Judgment when these team fights are going on.
Yeah, that's actually really dangerous.
It's an extremely dangerous composition, and then you have a Glaive who can just knock someone out of position. Once they jump in, you knock one of them out. They really don't have multiple gap closers. Each member of that team has like one gap closer, and that's about it. And so, except for the Blackfeather. But if you punt away the Fortress or the Grace, then they're not going to have a way to get back into the melee fight.
Captain-wise, they can do a Baptiste. I was just going to say that. But Baptiste looks really good because he's going to be able to disable the Fortress, Wolves, and the ultimate coming their way. And also, if he lands a good Fearsome Shade while Grace is channeling her Divine Intervention, it will cancel the Divine Intervention. So a double Echo is actually really, really dangerous here. Again, Glaive with Baptiste is so strong because of the Ordain, right? You have a stun, and you have a Glaive stun, and you have a Baptiste that slows with the Mojo. So it's pretty solid draft here from Hammers. However, the late game with Grace going late game, pretty strong composition with a CP Fortress and Grace in the late game.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting one. And once again, we have these two teams, incredible mechanical skill on the stage right now, but two team compositions that require a lot of execution. They're going to require a lot of coordination. Cannot wait to get into this one, and we don't have to wait any longer. It's time to jump into game number 2 and pass it over to our casters.
Thank you very much, guys, and here we go. Dienzio straight back on that Adagio, but you just said to me 2 seconds ago, this is a shut Dienzio composition down.
Yeah, this is just the same way that Blackfeather is good against Celeste. Blackfeather's pretty good against Adagio for exactly the same reason. 2 immobile CP carries that are quite easy to stick to, and that's what Blackfeather's coming in for on the side of Hammers. Very anti-Adagio. You've got the Mortal Wounds from the Fortress, you can get the Mortal Wounds coming up from the Poison Shiv that you might see built on this Blackfeather. Very, very interesting here between the two teams, but I think the Baptiste was the perfect pick for Immortals to round this out. You get the Echo, the double Fearsome Shade. This is a composition from Hammers that wants to dive, dive, dive. Do you know what dive, dive, dive gets shut down by? Ridiculous disengage, and that's what the Fearsome Shade, especially with the Echo, can provide here for Immortals.
2 very well thought out compositions then. Now, will Dienzio get fed, or will we see starting all over on this Grace? Not Captain Grace this time. This is what I was hoping to see, by the way. Someone playing very aggressive Grace, and starting all over, he's going to be your man.
So you've got a 3v3 here already opening up.
Well, speaking of very aggressive, T-Tigers already has to get himself out of there. Playboy Afro going fairly low, but that fire's just going to burn him down. Dienzio, could this be first blood again? T-Tigers is very low, and Dienzio picks it up once more. Immortals find first blood in the second game again. And now Hammers, they're trying to make something work here, but T-Tigers is just going to shrug the damage up.
Very intelligent from Hammers to back off here. They knew that walking straight into the brush could spell defeat for them. Starting all over's not done yet.
He is not done whatsoever. Starting all over, going very low. T-Tigers the same. Archaic just trying to find that last executing blow. But T-Tigers just healing all the damage up. Manages to take out Starting all over. How is he not dead yet? Hammers, they're on the ropes right now. Dienzio and Max Green are chasing them up. And T-Tigers picks up a double kill.
With no vision, they walk straight into the brush. It gave time to reset. An amazing use of that Ordained to stop Starting all over, charging and stealing the healing Treant. So good that it went over to T-Tigers because it gave him that ability to get back into the fight with the healing from Dienzio and that regeneration buff from the Treant. And suddenly Immortals off to a 3-0 start here. A start that they, I think, so desperately need. We need to take stock of things again, though. It's not going to be a power Blackfeather, it's going to be a CP Blackfeather from the jungle, looking for that range advantage over the Immortals roster here. Feels like it's been a bit of a switch up. But it's a lot of burst damage, burst damage onto a single target with this Grace and Archaic on the CP Blackfeather. And you do have then Playboy Afro bringing the Fortress in to provide those mortal wounds and also the engage potential with that attack of the pack.
That's going to be the big trigger for them to pull when they enter these fights. Just making sure they can jump on Dienzio, cut the healing in half, but Max Green's going to be there to back them up. And now T-Tigers, very early aggression on this glaive. We speak about it time and time again. North America, how they differ from EU. Their junglers are so proactive in the way that they want to play, and glaive just seems like a perfect fit.
Also note how both support players this time around went for that Dragon Blood contract, just looking for early aggression. It definitely makes sense for Hammers, but I like the way that Immortals matched it because it, well, proved so effective there in that 3 versus 3. And the level 1 of the Immortals composition is very good. You know, you have the ability to lock a target down with the Ordained. Glaive, weapon power build, very, very solid early on. The ability to reposition with the Afterburn. Wait a second, we might have a little fight breaking out.
Afterburn comes through. They find Playboy Afro. He's taking a fair bit of damage, but Starting all over is going to be in the front line, the main target. Bad Mojo flying through. Archaic's going to join the fight also. Now level 6, so he can't actually just use that Rose offensive to get in on the action. In fact, Immortals are just happy with that trade.
One of the redeeming things for Hammers here is once they hit that level 8 on the Blackfeather, they're going to have a range advantage over Immortals. They're going to have a very long range. Wait a second, Max Green's got to be careful.
He's in a lot of trouble. Does use the boots to get away though. Dienzio will be there for the healing.
So level 8 on Blackfeather is going to give them a serious range advantage over the Immortals composition in terms of the ability to spam that on point from a considerable distance. The rest of the Hammers composition was going to have to be very careful about when they choose to engage, because it is a very telegraphed engage from your Hammers, and it means it's very easy for Max Green to pick out the perfect time for a Fearsome Shade. Fearsome Shade is going to shut both the Grace and the Fortress down when they come to look.
Oh, hello.
Just
Step
baited.
up and you get bitten. T-Tigers just takes down Playboy Afro. Archaic still wants a little bit of the action though. Can't really find all too much.
Playboy Afro had no idea what was coming. Out the glaive, it was looking like he was searching for starting, so Playboy Afro walked behind the glaive, bam! Turns around, smacks the Fortress back into the team, and he goes down. A great start for Immortals here. Very aggressive as well as they need to be.
T-Tigers is 3-0 right now with the 4-minute mark on a glaive bat. You want to get an early tension bell on that. You want to get early damage items on. Perfect position. Dienzio right now not looking like the carry. It's T-Tigers' turn.
Look, if there is any member of the Immortals or even a jungler in North America that if you give a carry jungler to will just start to run away with things, I think T-Tiger is the perfect example of that. If you give him something that's going to be monstrous when it gets fed, he will carry with it.
Well, Max Green looking like he wants to have a little bit of Dienzio right now. Ordain's going to come out, Starting over in a lot of trouble. That's going to be a massive fountain to heal them all up. However, T-Tigers now on the front line. He's got to be very, very careful. Starting over ends up falling though. Dienzio is just a basic attack, but they do trade 1-for-1. A shutdown comes through, but no, Immortals still managing to pick up the kill onto Archaic in the end. Playboy Afro couldn't really do anything at all. Starting all over doesn't have the damage. Neither does Archaic right now with just the Shagla.
Tension bow was there for T-Tigers as well. The burst was pretty heavy from them, and you've got a lot of sustain coming out from Immortals right now with only one way to apply that mortal wounds at this point in time, and that is just the Playboy Afro. That is a single target application of the Mortal Wounds as well. So it's going to go onto a target that you're currently focusing, and obviously you can then play around that with the use of Gift of Fire onto different targets. And I mean, this is just a good starting of a snowball from the early game here from Immortals, and just trying to carry this on. Once we get to level 6, you can already see Max Green's second item, Echo, here, because of how important the Echo Fearsome Shade is going to be for this composition. Really love the prioritization from him here. He knows the win conditions.
One of the win conditions is kill Max Green right now, apparently down to about quarter HP. The Ordained is going to come through. T-Tigers looking for an entrance, can't quite find it. After the poke from Archaic did end up landing. TNTO still managing to heal the rest of his team up, not an issue, but Max Green's going to go back now. He's got a bit of he's got a chunk of change in his pocket. Almost being able to pick up that Echo now.
Yeah, he'll be saving that up. About 1,000 gold away, I believe, something like that. So he'll be able to get it in the next couple of minutes, especially once he hits level 6, like we said, that very important time. Can obviously use for double Ordained if he absolutely has to, but obviously for the most part you're looking to use that on the Fearsome Shade. T-Tigers, gonna have to burn away here.
Have to burn over the wall. I've always liked his blade, by the way, the big Sorrow blade looking thing he's got on there. Hang on a second though, Ordained is going to come down starting all over. I'm going to interrupt myself as DNZO is going to have to kite away. 3 members of Hammers cannot touch DNZO, it seems. Not Max Green there. However, the damage does come through now. The Fountain is going to heal him up, and still, Turret a little bit too far forward there, and they will be end up just walking away. Divine Intervention used as well to heal them up.
Just so you know, Jaws, that's actually Sorrow Blade for Glaive. It is the Sorrow Blade Glaive skin.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra, you corrected me.
You said that big Sorrow Blade looking thing. It's genuinely a Sorrow Blade.
What I was going to say was the little missile looking thing on the back there, you know, when he uses it after burn, it's like he's going to send him fly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, but I interrupted myself. There's a fight, come on.
Yeah, okay, dude, I got
Thank
you.
you.
I got you.
We have fun. Immortals now, looking at the power spikes here, like you said, Max Green, only about 500 now off that Echo, and Playboy Afro is going to be the main initiator with that attack of the pack. As soon as that gets Fearsome Shade, you've got to imagine he's kind of done, leaving DNZO to do a lot of the damage. He's nearing his second tier 3 item as well.
Well, they knew that Playboy Afro's second item is going to be Crucible. It's absolutely necessary against a Batiste to have that Crucible on board, and against an Adagio. There's a couple of, you know, it's all about it. It's going to be really... It's so interesting to approach this game for Hammers, because you have a lot of decisions in team fights to be made. Do we block the initial foray of the Batiste ultimate, or do we need to block the Adagio ultimate? Because a dive composition like this, if they get a big Adagio ultimate on them and they've already used their Crucible, you are going to get shut down when you're right on top of the target that you want to kill. So it's almost going to be a lose-lose situation in terms of Crucible use here for Hammers. They might even have to consider a double Crucible at some point in this composition. Maybe starting all over picks that up himself, maybe Archaic thinks about it, but I think a double Crucible might genuinely be necessary.
Oh, speaking about build pass then, let's look at this new Rising Star up-and-comer in starting all over. Obviously gone for this Weapon Power Grace build. Is there room for an Echo there as well? That's normally the second item for a Grace here. They're not going to have that available to them in these fights, it seems.
No, I don't think Echo on Grace is going to be used here. Maybe later on into the game, because you want to keep those diving targets alive, especially maybe even yourself, but no, I think Echo will be on the last of priorities here for Immortals to go in.
Ordained, there's the attack of the pack. DNZO is going to be the main target there, but it doesn't matter because starting all over is already down. Massive versus Judgment to stun up Playboy Afro. He is very tanky, but DNZO is just going to burn him alive. Another attack will just finish him off, and now the hunt is on. Archaic almost falls. Nice use of the reflex block. No, sorry, the Rose offensive to get out of the Ordained. Immortals, though, looking to take that first tier turret now.
And again, you saw the catch-22 for Hammers. We can block the disengage from Batiste, but we can't block the Verse of Judgment. Check this out here. Immortals actually the ones to find the engage. They thought they could stop starting all over. They are going to use the block on the Batiste ultimate, but immediately afterwards, DNZO channels that Verse of Judgment. He was too healthy to take down quickly. And again, that's the conundrum that Hammers are going to face every single team fight unless they get a double Crucible open. You know, they're going to be facing that every single time a team fight breaks out.
Well, you said as soon as that Echo comes online, you'll have a lot of shades to deal with. It's going to be very fearful for them, and that's good. That was the main issue there as well. Vengeance came down, and hey, I got another fearful shade, by the way. T-Tigers, is he going to go in? That's the question. He decided against it, apparently. Now, Immortals seem to be on the defensive here, and what can Hammers really do to win a fight? They are not, like, ignore the goal. Just the kills again are just so far in favor of Immortals right now. It seems like they cannot find a fight. Ordain's going to come through. T-Tigers is going to find one. Starting Alert is going to be the target once again. Attack in the back is going to land on DNZO, but Archaic almost solos him out. But that turret is going to help finish off the kill. Now starting all over, trying to kill him, but it's not going to be enough. That giant Sorrow Blade just cutting him up, and that will be Playboy Afro tail between his legs. Gonna have to go back to base, and this could be Immortals taking their second turret already.
Look, you mentioned how or Hammer's going to lose a fight. It's going to require a serious mistake from Immortals. Some mistiming, some miscommunication between the use of their sort of team-wide CC. Immortals have got the perfect way to shut Hammers down, and unless Hammers builds a double Crucible, they find the dive onto Dienzio and kill him almost instantaneously. It's going to be very, very difficult for Hammers to win this one out. I do like the Poison Shiv pickup for starting all over. I was wondering whether his weapon power Grace build was going to include that. I think it is necessary against the likes of an Adagio. But I think one of the win conditions now for Hammers has to be the use of that Black Feather. You get that broken myth. You start to stack with the Poison Shiv. I think that's why Immortals have actually been looking for the engages themselves. They know that they cannot play at range against the CP Black Feather over and over again. So if they find an opportunity to find an engage in their favor, because, I mean, what are Hammers going to do? If Immortals engage in them, what do Hammers actually do? Do they turn around and run? Do they try and force a fight? Even if they do, they're just going to get loaded with this team-wide CC that they just don't have the way to defend against. So I think Immortals are very happy to let Hammers engage, but they're also very happy to engage themselves. It's a win-win situation for this team right now.
Ordain yet again, Afterburn comes through. Wartrade's going to get popped from Immortals. Attacking the back with Dienzio's left completely alone to just free hit on the back line. Fearsome Shade does come through. Fears 3 members of Hammers, but it just pushes them the wrong way. So Immortals can't quite find the kill yet. However, that gold miner is on the board. There are a couple of Brinken Hellfires there from Immortals.
Very, very quick use of the double shade from Max Green there. Maybe could have held on to it for a bit longer. Actually helped Hammers move back into their own side jungle to disengage. Here we go, though.
Hang on a second. Afterburn straight into Archaic with that massive benediction. Not the benediction. The Divine Intervention is going to come up to heal them up. Well over once again, missing that. Oh, locked in place by the Holy Nova. Won't quite find anything. As soon as you're locked into that animation, you know the damage is going to come through. Ends up going down.
And again, Immortals can search for these engages because Hammers... Let's pretend we are Hammers right now. We have a composition that is designed to dive the carry Adagio, but you can't because of the mass disengage that the Immortals team are bringing to the side of the game. If you get engaged on, what are you going to do as Immortals? You have a composition that's not supposed to counter-engage. It's not supposed to the kite. It is a composition that dives. So when you engage, you say, oh, wow, they're doing the work for us. They're engaging. We're going to jump on them. But that's not what they want to do because they don't have a way to defend against the double Batiste ultimate. They don't have a way to defend against the Verse of Judgment. It is just a lose-lose situation. You can't engage as Hammers, but you also can't disengage as Hammers. Immortals have got them down, nailed to a post.
You mentioned Max Green, and I think back to London and I say he didn't perform so well. In fact, he struggled in London. He seems to have cleared all that up now and performing out of his mind on this Batiste. He's 1-0 with 9. The Fearsome Shade, that was one time that it wasn't really necessary maybe, but he's still doing a heck of a job. Ordain is going to get blocked, but T-Target has found the target he wants. It's going to be Playboy Afro. Attack at the back. There's a massive Fearsome Shade used once again. Echo has been popped. We can use that cooldown yet again, but look at Dienzio once more. Another massive Fearsome Shade. Archaic's going to be the first casualty of war. That Mortal Wound isn't going to do too much, but the healing's not even there. Ridiculous. Dienzio again. He's 7-0. This is a reminiscent of game number 1, apart from Hammers, only with the 1 kill.
You needed to win very early on for Hammers here, and I've got to say, the level 1 fight that gave Immortals that 3-0 was literally almost the nail in the coffin for Hammers. Hammers needed to snowball. They needed to get a massive advantage before Echo became a thing on the Batiste. I mean, look, let's take a look here. Starting actually uses the Benediction onto a minion, so it doesn't even get the most effect out of it, but Hammers, they try to go back in, they get buffed back by the Fearsome Shade on the Echo, and suddenly Dienzio untouched, able to clean up, and Hammers have got nothing left in the tank after that first engage. I mean, this is a game that needed to be snowballed by Hammers. They haven't snowballed, and it's just resulted in the Immortals composition being superior in teamfights. There's almost nothing else you can say about it. It's a matter of formalities for Immortals now. They should get won by them, and if they lose it, it's going to be due to some severe misplays in teamfight situations.
Well, Playboy Afro is going to flare out that brush to his demise. However, attack the back again is going to get popped. Look at the Fearsome Shade just rattling through. Dienzio with a huge ult, but he doesn't quite find anybody as Archaic gets healed up, and now he is a 1v3 situation. Max Green, the real cooldowns there. Fearsome Shade scares them away, but hang on a second. Dienzio once more, he goes big! An ace comes through for Immortals. Took the words right out of my mouth.
And they're going to run this down towards the Vein Crystal. Immortals searching for their second win in this series. They have come to the Unified Live Championships to show that they are a contender here. Jaws splitting the aggro on these Vein Crystal turrets. I don't think they've got enough time. They're going to have to back up. Going to play this one safe. They don't need to take risks because they just straight up win these team fights.
Immortals have got a game plan set and ready to deal with hammers, it seems. Right now, they're just on a different level. Let's have a look at this replay.
So actually, Immortals set this up in a really bad way. There's no good place to use your Fearsome Shade here. The block initially was super strong, and then unfortunately, Max Green wasn't in a good position to actually find a reset and use it once more. Dienzio surviving here was key, but Max Green held onto that Fearsome Shade for such a long time, found the perfect position to use it in, and actually gets a clean key kill up here, and Dienzio just able to clean things up once he gets that disengage off. But actually, Immortals set that up in a really bad position.
Oh, T-Tigers, they found one. That's going to be a big block on the Ordain, but the Fearsome Shade's going to hit. The walls come out. The Versa Judgment's going to strike true as well. But Archaic's still alive in the back line here, just trying to find this Dienzio. There's the fountain. Archaic's going to fall already to Max Green. What is going on here? They finally find Dienzio. They kill him for the first time in this game, but they can't find anything more. Playboy Afro, once again, the last member alive for Hammers.
Immortals getting very, very aggressive in these teamfight situations here. Very antsy to try and close this one out. T-Tigers and Max Green going to start up this Kraken. Playboy Afro might have something to say about this. You do have to respect a Fortress's damage, even if he is going through that captain role. He's looking to try and delay this as long as possible. Maybe even look for that Miracle Steal.
Doesn't have Attack of the Pack, so can't send that out. You got to do it at this point. This is your only way back into the game. You've got a single turret. You need to be able to steal this Kraken. Can it be done? The stun comes through, but no. Immortals secure it, and now Playboy Afro on the wrong side of business, the wrong side of the jungle. And Kraken screeching at him. He falls. And Immortals now, they're just marching on the base. One turret stands between them and taking the second game of the series with match points.
They've got a massive advantage here. They've got the Kraken. They can even distract Hammers, and Kraken will do the work. This should be the second game going over to Immortals. They have looked so incredibly strong here, playing something that is just so easily executed from the very get-go. Max Green has been amazing on this Batiste. Some incredible ultimates from him and well-used and timed Echo. And Immortals going to run this down to take the final Vein Crystal.
Their last chance, their last opportunity to make something happen here. Attack of the Pack once more is going to get unleashed. Look at Dienzio trying to kite back here. Archaic's in the 1v1, but they're just going to get completely ignored here. Massive Versa Judgment. Is it going to be enough? Archaic is finally going to find him, but the Kraken's still knocking on the crystal. Match point to Immortals. And they're very, very close now to just sweeping Hammers.